guys want a shot at winning a copy of Call of Duty World War II for the console of your choice for absolutely free, a couple of my friends and I are doing a little giveaway. Link is down there in the description below. Go check it out if you're interested. At this point, we're getting very close to just being 2 weeks away from Call of Duty World War II's launch, and as such, we've already experienced the beta, E3, other things like that. We've gotten some stuff, some first looks at zombies with a trailer. We got a little bit of campaign information, surprisingly not as much as we have had in the past, but nonetheless, we have a decent understanding of what we'll be having within Call of Duty World War II, and focusing more so on the multiplayer aspect of the game, we've seen pretty much a large majority of what we'll have given to us in terms of weaponry, not necessarily maps, because theoretically there's 13, at least what we've had detailed to us in some data mined leaks and things like that, but weaponry wise, we've seen a decent chunk of them, but one in particular that I want to talk about today is actually only one of 2 assault rifles we've yet to see within World War II. Now, without mentioning the other one here that we haven't touched on or seen at all via the beta or anything like that, for those that don't want anything spoiled, this one is the BAR or Browning automatic rifle, which we have seen at E3, but nowhere else to the general public. Very few people got their hands on experience with World War II at E3 in the grand scheme of things in terms of what everybody had access to comparable to the beta, and so therefore not necessarily all that many people know about the BAR, and if it's at all comparable to what was playable at E3, it is by far the best weapon you've never played with in Call of Duty World War II. So in this one, we're going to be showcasing it a little bit off to you guys and give you guys a little bit of a heads up, because once again, we are only a few weeks away now at this point, so if it's anything like what we played at E3, this thing is going to be one you definitely want to go in and jump in and use as soon as possible. So that said, in the assault rifle category, one of 2 weapons that we did not see showcased in the beta through all the level rankings and progressions there within. The other one we're not going to mention, but we have seen the M1941, the M1 Garand, the STG-44, the M1A1 carbine, the other weapon that we won't detail once again for those that don't want it spoiled, and then finally the BAR or Browning automatic rifle that we saw at E3. So as you can tell by this, it is that last unlock for the assault rifle category, and thus it probably by itself and definition of that is one of the more favorable weapons that is in World War II, simply because of its rank unlock. Now, whether or not we end up seeing that being the final rewarded weapon as the division ranking system, or if it's in the standard leveling system that we've known for years, that's something we don't know of just yet, but the weapon itself is actually pretty powerful. With a rate of fire that's controllable around 666 RPM, a damage of around 35 HP per shot, a movement speed of a 0.95, which is in line with everything else, and a reload speed of only 2 seconds, and an ability to top that off in 1.5 if your magazine is still holding some ammunition, it comes in at a pretty decent punch. Of course, a 3-shot kill without any multipliers factored in, that's of course beautiful, but where this thing really thrives, I think, and I think we've even touched on it in a video before, is that it's an all-around awesome weapon. It's one that truly I don't think is one of those weapons that sticks only in that sole classification of whatever type of weapon it is. Whereas snipers are of course more suitable at medium to long range engagements, and SMGs are more so close quarters weapons, the BAR or Browning automatic rifle within World War II does not stick and conform to that assault rifle stigma that we have, that it's only about medium range effectiveness to semi-close quarters. This thing is good at all ranges from what I played with it out in E3, and it could take on some things like other assault rifles. It could do well in close quarters. It could even rival some, perhaps, sniper rifles if your opponent doesn't have a decent shot. Now, of course, damage-wise on that last part, it is going to be interesting because, of course, snipers are one shot at certain points on the body, and the assault rifles take at range about 5 to 6 shots depending on how far and what the drop-off is. I was not able to calculate the damage drop-off for whenever I took these numbers months ago, but nonetheless, it is still something that this weapon is incredibly versatile, and whether it's one of those ones that you have to rank up for your division, or if it's just something you have to grind out the levels in your leveling progression system for your character, I definitely say immediately do it. Put this on as soon as possible, because once again, if it's anything like it was in E3, it's going to shred. The only downside is that the ammunition wasn't the greatest. You had to top off every so often, and really it kind of hindered it in that aspect, but you take that away, that is the biggest deterrent from this weapon, and in reality, that's not all that bad. So while it is possible, I guess, over time there were some adjustments, and of course with it being left out of the beta, it is a big assumption that it will be as good as it was at E3, but it is still quite possible. And I say it's an assumption simply because when you take it from that time frame of July, middle of July, to when the beta was at the end of August, and then to whenever the launch will actually happen, that's something in which there's a big crossover period in time whenever you see it from July to early November. So that time in development, there were obviously months that tweaks and adjustments could have been made. Whether or not they were, that's something that we won't know until the full launch of the game. But with this approaching, I definitely wanted to bring it to your attention that this weapon should be on your radar. I know I touched on it, I think, right after E3, but it is something right now getting into it. You want to keep this in the back of your mind. You want to definitely go for this weapon, especially if they have not made too many adjustments to the weapon. But that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna bring you guys, I think, a couple of series of videos in which we showcase some weapons I think you should totally keep your eye out for. We did that last year leading into Infinite Warfare, and though Infinite Warfare wasn't all that well received at launch, going forward into the beginning of it and what we saw jumping into that pre-launch hype, those videos you guys seem to really enjoy back then for those guys that were here. So I think we might do something similar with that and bring you guys a couple of weapons in the next couple of weeks leading up until the launch of World War II. So that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Are you guys bummed we could not see the Browning automatic rifle or the bar in the beta, or are you guys kind of happy we got to see a little bit of it at E3 but nothing of it at the beta? Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below, and of course, let me know if you're gonna try this out come launch. Hopefully you guys enjoyed though. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with everything we have here regarding Call of Duty World War II. We're gonna be killing it with the content going forward into the launch and of course thereafter. So if any of it interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a beat. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that is the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. I practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. But all that said, now I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for watching. Mine is an espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.